Welcome to this class of Ashokan Edicts. So we were discussing about the rock edicts in the earlier sessions. Now in this session we will be discussing the pillar edicts. So here pillar edicts can be divided into two categories, the minor pillar edicts and the major pillar edicts. The minor pillar edicts comes before the major pillar edicts. If you were to look in through a chronological lens, they are mostly dealing with his inscriptions and speeches from the 12th regnal year, while the major pillar edicts has been inscribed or engraved during his last years of his life, from the 26th and 27th regnal years of him being as an emperor. So when it comes to these minor pillar edicts, they are very different. You can say that the major pillar edicts are very close to the major rock edicts, while the minor pillar edicts are closer to the minor rock edicts in terms of their contextual information. So we'll talk about the minor pillar edicts first. So they can be found in 5 locations, mostly Sarnath, Sanchi, Allahabad, Lumbini and Nigali Sagar. Lumbini and Nigali Sagar are in modern day Nepal. So most of these pillar edicts have been given the translation by Romila Thapar in English, along with other translators such as Falk, Falk, who is also one of the biggest, you can say, linguists and archaeologists working on the Ashokan inscriptions. Then you also have Hultzsch, who was from the 1920s, and he was the one who gave a lot of the English translations of the rock edicts of Ashoka. So these some people have been really been working a lot in the Ashokan inscriptions. So when it comes to the age of these minor pillar edicts, many of the linguists believe it is very parallel to the major rock edicts, which is also focusing on the periods of 10th to 14th year of his regnal year. According to the engraving technique, it is still very poor than the major pillar edicts. Now, when we see this engraving technique and then when we talk about the carvings, there is a lot of difference. So, according to the aesthetic value of these pillars, especially with their capitals and other such parts of them, they are known to be very aesthetically pleasing. The technique that they've used, the way the carving has been done is very polished. It shines. There is a lot of geometric motifs that have been carved into, which is very difficult with using a lot of these primitive tools. So a lot of these linguists, when they have tried to understand why the engraving of the inscription was poor, but the capitals, the way of the artistic style of these pillars were very, you can say, way ahead of its time, is because the capitals or the artisans that were creating these capitals were from the Persian Empire. So when we talk about the capitals, we saw how they were mostly derived and very much close or similar to these Achaemenid pillar capitals. It is there where Ashoka got this idea to create the same in the Indian subcontinent as well. So these artisans were then called from the Persian Empire, who were already very well versed in creating these artistic designs, and hence the artistic design that we see of these capitals are very, very high quality. But when it comes to the inscriptions and the engravings, the written part of these pillars, they were done by the Indian artisans, who were at that time not very highly skilled, unlike the Persian counterparts. So hence the engravings are very poor in this. So this can show that at that point of time and age, the inscription engraving was still going through a very trial and error phase. There were a lot of very big, you can say, the difficulties in engraving, choosing the right material for engraving. Hence, if they are chosen more either metallic or marble or any other long-lasting stones, they would have lasted longer. So hence we can see that the engraving is poor, especially with the minor pillar edicts. But some sort of mastery and skill upliftment, you can say, and development is being seen, especially with the major pillar edicts, where the engravings are much better. So we can see even in the artistic history and narrative, there is so much changes happening, especially during this time. Okay. So most of these minor pillar edicts are only in the Prakrit language, in the Brahmi script. They're only found in the Indian or in the heartland of the empire. They're not found in Afghanistan or any of the boundaries. So the first one is known as a schism edict. Now the schism edict is known for its context that it holds. The schism edict is known because it is Ashoka is trying to solve the disputes between the Buddhist communities. Apparently during his time there were a lot of disputes happening, so he is kind of making people aware of the dispute and suggesting solutions to their